Well, why am I starting unusually late today? And by unusually late, I mean by like 6 minutes. Technically 15, but usually I always start like 7 to 10 minutes late anyways. It's a mystery. So, I might be coughing a little bit more than usual. Because yesterday, something very interesting happened. Or last night, actually, which caused me to not get a lot of sleep. Oh my goodness, it's another story about me not getting sleep. What happened was, I was cleaning my gecko's cage, and I was putting in new sphagnum moss, which you get in compressed bricks, like really, really tight bricks of moss. And because my head was in my gecko's cage, when I was pulling it apart, the compressed brick, it released huge clouds of moss particles that I was breathing in. And after a couple seconds, it basically coated the entire inside of my lungs with moss particles. And so I could barely breathe for a good couple of hours last night. And so I had to go walk around late into the night coughing to clear out my lungs. Howdy. Oh yeah, howdy there in the chat. Yeah, no, I'm talking about how I accidentally choked myself out with moss dust last night. And it took several hours to clear my lungs, and my lungs are actually still they are still a little coated with moss dust this morning. So if you're ever getting sphagnum moss for like a gecko cage or like a frog cage or something like that, and it's a compressed brick, make sure to do it outside or in a well-vented environment, or else you will lose the ability to breathe. That's something they should probably put on their warning labels, because I have never experienced this before, and it was really bad. Yeah, you know what? I'm an artist. I can draw an illustration. I can draw what happened. Okay, here's my gecko cage. Okay. It's really big. It's a really, really big cage. It's like, I don't know, 2-3 feet tall. And so, the doors swing open and whatnot. And so the, here's my gecko. Gripper Pay Gekkonday. She's a 20-year-old crested gecko. Okay, this is a really bad illustration. I'm going to use a smaller brush. Okay. And so here is me with my hat as per usual and my beard. And the sphagnum moss bricks that you get, these things, they come in these bricks. And here's me with my legs. And when you like break them, so you break them open, you like crack them. So like all these like particles and stuff come out. So this is my hand grabbing it. The fact that I have to tell you what I'm drawing might mean I'm not as good as an artist as I thought I am. And so when you're breaking and like crumbling these bricks, like all this dust shoots up into the air that I was not aware of. And what happened was, because my face was so close to the inside of the cage, basically, because my face was inside the cage, basically it was just a cloud of dust that I was breathing in the whole time, but I was unaware that that's what was happening. And so, like, there was all this dust in the cage that I was breathing in. And as I was cleaning it, and with every breath, I could tell that my lungs were getting worse and worse. And it was really confusing me. I was like, whoa, it's getting hard to breathe all of a sudden. It's like, wow, it's getting really, really hard to breathe all of a sudden. It's like, whoa, it's like I can barely breathe anymore. And then, yeah, that's what happened last night. And so then I had to walk for several hours to clear my lungs. And unfortunately, my lungs, even this morning, are still very cleared out. Are still very not cleared out. That's what I should say. So, yeah. Fun times. Things you learn about, yeah, sphagnum moss. The dangers of it. Alright, cool. Well, I should probably do, I should probably do something. I should probably do some drawing. So I will do that. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so I'll probably sound out of breath. So, what is this? Whoa, this is the Master Shots Volume 2 challenge. What do? I do straight ahead storyboarding, where I combine two sections from the book Master Shots Volume 2, where I'll randomly roll a dice that will pick out a section from the book, and then I combine them together to make a scene. And then it's, yeah, that's it. That's how this works. So, let's roll the dice. Oh my goodness. I'm yawning so much. Gotta... So little air. I rolled section... Ooh, actually there's two ways to interpret this. Is this section 1.10? Or is this section 11? Give me a second. So let's see if there even is a section 11. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to... Okay. So this causes an interesting dilemma. So I rolled 110. And so, yeah, no, I rolled 110, which is very interesting. Because that could either be interpreted as section 1.10, or could be interpreted as section, you know what, I'm going to do it as section, yeah, 11. Just because I want to do section 11. Okay, cool. Sweet. Okay, so section 11.1. Sorry, this is okay, so I should probably explain this a little bit. When I roll something that ends in a 0, the book doesn't actually have anything that ends in a 0, really, for the most part. And so I have to round to the nearest one. Okay, so reverse body. Okay, so what is this? Reverse body is a type of acting that you can do in a scene where one character is facing one way. You know, maybe there's a railing or something like that this person's leaning up against. And then the other person is leaning in the other direction. So this person might be facing that way. This person's body is facing that way. And this can just be an interesting way to stage things. Because it can kind of make it seem like one character's attention is drawn to something else, or that they're not paying attention, or alternatively, that maybe they are hiding something emotionally that they don't want the other character to know about. And it can actually add some tension to a scene if, it's clear that one person's kind of trying to hide their emotions while the other character's trying to mosey their way in to figure out what it is that they're feeling. But yeah, no, this is pretty basic acting. Or like, this isn't so much like a camera move or anything like that. This is just a little bit of acting that you can do. So yeah, there's a lot of different situations you can do this. Is like maybe one person's asking questions, like maybe character 1 is trying to get answers out of character 2, and because character 2 isn't facing the same way as him, it kind of makes it obvious that character 2 is that he's yeah. Dang it, sorry, it's hard because I'm also trying to breathe. Yeah, the character 2 is not good at hiding the fact that they are not trying to show emotion. So this would be good for like interrogation scenes or anything where there's a power imbalance between one character and the other one. Okay, cool. Gonna roll the other one. Roll the other dice. Roll. 33. Alright, so section 3.3. I have a feeling we've done this one before. Nope, that's a lie. We've not done this one before. Yeah. Cool. Alright, so I should probably explain what this is. Section 3.3 is angle exchange. And what is it, you may ask? Good question. I don't know. I'm actually going to have to read the description of this one. So. Okay. I know what this is. This isn't that. Okay. This is pretty basic. This is essentially just a side switch. It's a side switch during a shot, reverse shot. Okay. So, I'm not quite sure why it's called angle exchange, but anyway, so during a dialogue scene, like let's say a shot, reverse shot, let's say, you see, this is really easy. We can already use the character acting from this one, from Reverse Body. Okay, so let's say there's a character here, and he's, starting to interrogate this character while he's like leaning. We got this character who's I don't know, he's getting nervous or something like that. Character 2, and character 1's on screen left, character 2's on screen right. Okay, so that's their spot, and what happens is during the dialogue. So let's say it's a, you know, like shot, reverse shot, where he's like talking, and character one's still there. That character two over here, he might potentially walk off during this shot, which upsets character one. So he's here, he just walked past the camera. And then as he's walking away, maybe because he realizes that he's about to blow his cover or something like that. Here's the guy who's still leaning against the railing or whatever. So as he's walking away, and this guy's like realizing, no, I'm gonna make this guy smiling. Maybe he realizes he's getting to him. He's getting to character two. Character two can swing around and maybe say like a last word or something like that. Maybe character one says something. It's like, yo, of course, the Empire is pretty chill. Maybe you should like join it. And then character two swings around, and he's like, no. He's like, the Empire is not pretty chill. I will not join it or something. And in a fit of rage, he says that. So, what is this all building up to? Great question. So if you noticed that this little step that he did pushed him onto screen left. That's it. So here we have, you know, character one is on screen left. Throughout all these shots, character one is on screen left. And so what happened is he says something that causes character two to get aggravated. And then character two now takes command, and he is now the owner of screen left. So now character two owns screen left. And so then in the next shot, it'd be character one gets downgraded to screen right. So then character one in this shot would be over here. He's like, what? You don't think the Empire's pretty chill? So now he has been demoted to the screen right. And that's it. That's all this concept is. It's, yeah. It's like, in tracking shots, you know how there's side switches? Where when characters gain ground on the conversation, they'll switch sides of the screen. It's the exact same concept. It's just allowing someone to walk or move or something like that to steal the position of another person. And show that they're gaining power. Okay. So, cool. Yeah, that's it. That's it for the description. I need to figure out what kind of scene I want to do. Great question. How you guys doing in the chat? I'm gonna need to think of this scene pretty quickly. Yeah, man, my lungs are still. Jeez Louise. You know, I hope this doesn't turn into like an infection or something like that. That would really suck. Yeah, I would not like that at all. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue that one scene or sequence with the kids in the spacesuits. I think I might continue it. Just because I'm trying to not have to reinvent new characters and new scenarios and new settings every single time. Because I feel like every time I have to do that, it gets a little bit harder, because not only am I trying to figure out a scene, I'm also trying to figure out new characters and new settings and situations. So having relatively grounded situations, or not grounded, I mean consistent situations, I think make things easier. Ooh, I could do this guy again. This weird guy who like teleports around and everything. Nah, I think I'm gonna go for the kids in spacesuits. Okay, so where were they left off? They found some sort of weird device. I wonder if I can actually just continue this, like, directly from where I left off. And if it will make sense. You know, this might actually work. So what size brush was I using? Okay, yeah, I think this might work. Okay, sorry, I'm prevaricating. I'm gonna take a small pause before I start, just because I need a cough. So I'm gonna mute my mic. So, but yeah, just a second. Alright, I coughed. Alright, cool. Alright, so I'm gonna do this, and hopefully I won't run out of breath. Alright, let's continue this scene. So, what did these characters find? They found some sort of weird device, and yeah, I'm just going to figure it out. They found some sort of strange device that's important to whatever narrative they're in. He like looks off to the side. And he looks back at her. He's like, do you know what this is? And she still has her tongue sticking out. Right? maybe she's a little bit closer. And she just shakes her head. Nope. He's like, maybe we'll cut it even closer to him, because maybe there's an important reason that he's not going to tell her something. And so what we'll do is we'll have him blink, and then maybe, hold on, sorry, I didn't plan this out. I should cut in even closer. And then Storyboard Pro is going to freeze. Okay, cool. It froze. Alright, now it's moving. This is weird. Storyboard Pro is getting slower for me. Maybe it's because this file is freaking huge. We're just going to cut in a little bit closer. So she's like, nope. And then we're going to cut to slightly wider. He's gonna turn his head. He's like, well, it's pretty important, whatever it is. Maybe he knows that there's some danger that's related to this thing. And so she's already someone who's like nervous, as we've established from the previous scenes. And so maybe he's trying to play it safe by not telling her too much information. He doesn't want to freak her out. Maybe she should be in the foreground here. Just a little bit. So that explains why we cut out. To see a little bit of her, yeah, so now she'll swing in. So that explains why we did that. It gives reason for why we did that. And then she's going to swing by. Because they're in zero gravity, so she can do that. Maybe she's making light of this whole situation. But she still wants answers to her previous questions. She's like, I don't care about this thing. She's like, you didn't answer my existential threat questions from earlier. Maybe she tries to swing in front of his vision. Again, they're in zero gravity, so they can kind of float around. And so here, man, we're going to need to copy this panel from a long time ago. Wherever it went. Where's it? Dang it. I don't even remember where it went. There it is. Found it. So here's like his POV. And then we're going to have her rudely kind of wrong there. Kind of swoosh in here. Or she's like, she's still talking about whatever the heck. I don't know if she should really be happy, but I already drew her emotions this way, so I'm gonna have to stick with it. No, I'm already changing it. She's doing her hand motion thingy. Where she like claps her hands together. Like points. I know. She's like, come on. She's like, you still didn't answer my question from last session. And so maybe she like pokes her hands towards the camera a little bit. I want answers. So that's her hands coming towards the camera. Actually, I think it would be funnier if this is closer like this, and she like bonks the nose of his helmet. So he's like deep in thought. Because he's like not paying attention to a word she's saying. Because they found this device thingy, and this is something that like, I don't know, his grandpa or someone told him about. And so he's like kind of thinking, he's like, is this the same thing that I was told like as a kid? It's like, is this legendary device or whatever? But she's still trying to get him to answer her question from last time, which is something he also didn't know the answer to. And she's like, these questions, they really bother me. Hey, answer. And she should get even closer. So she gets like really close. And he then turns where he's like, he should look down a little bit. And then he like looks up into another direction. Something like that. And then we cut to, I don't know, some sort of through the rubble and debris and destroyed spaceship parts. We're going to do a little bit of a... We'll do a little bit of a parallax here. We don't usually do camera moves like this, but... Okay. Or shots like this. Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to just do a little bit of parallax. because we're having some space debris float by. And then we're going to have our characters on another layer, which is this device thingy that is in space. It's like floating. It's got wires and stuff. I don't know what it is. And they are on it. So see, here's a bit of parallax, and then we're gonna see it float a little. Oops. I'm gonna actually make these foreground elements parallax even more. They should parallax enough that we get a nice screen wipe. So what this is doing is when a foreground element actually, I'm going to cut to his POV first. Actually, maybe not. Okay. So basically, this gives the feeling that they're being watched. So he just looks up, and there's going to be... Okay, I need to add another layer. Sorry. I'm going to add another layer of space debris that's behind them. I think this will sell this moment a lot more of broken stuff behind them. Yeah, I'm not going to make my shot count for today, but that's because this shot is filling in the space of like multiple shots. So this is space debris that's going to go counter. And so now it feels like they might be surrounded by something. And so he is thinking. And this is our perspective grid, because he remembers hearing stories. I don't know, space pirates. Let's just say it's space pirates. Stories of this device that was supposedly taken by space pirates or something. So he's turning as the camera's orbiting around him. And so she's still asking her questions. She shouldn't look that happy. She's like, blah, 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 blah. She should really be out of focus. This should be done with a long lens, because then it will really feel like that he's being spied on. And so then we're going to have this POV shot where, you know, he sees the debris and maybe like gunshots or something like that in this space debris. Like as he's scanning and sees all this destroyed wreckage, maybe claw marks or something all over this. Gonna have little bits in the foreground. Now with this one, we're not going to do an actual camera move. What we're going to do is we're just going to drag these. So things in the foreground move faster. Things in the background move slower. That's what parallax is. It's making things move at a speed that's consistent with its distance. So the closer something is, the further it moves when you're turning your head. Or turning the camera. So maybe he's He shouldn't be thinking too hard on this. But he's thinking a little bit. You know, actually, I'm just gonna have her jump in front of him in this, so he doesn't get to finish his thought. So his thought is that he's looking around, but I think it adds more tension if he doesn't get to complete the thought. You know, because sorry, I need to explain this thought process. Basically, he's connecting the dots. He's realizing that they are at some sort of ship elephant graveyard. You know, essentially. And he didn't realize that they were, or like in Little Mermaid, where it's like literally, you know, a sunken ship or something like that. But he's connecting the dots now and realizing, like, wait a minute, are we at this like legendary site? He's like, we might be. But the thing is that if he fully connects the dots, then it doesn't add tension. Because if he fully comes to conclusion. But if it just gets cut off a little bit short, then it's still adding a little bit of ambiguity to the audience as to whether this character realizes what's happening. He like snapped out of it. And then he looks off to the side. He's like, it's probably nothing. So I need to make sure the perspective grid is consistent. What is it? Energy source should be over here.
Oh, howdy.
Hello there in the chat. How goes it? You can keep this at a low angle. He's like, it's probably nothing. You know, that's actually unrealistic, though. Kids don't do that. Kids always associate everything that they've ever been told with what's happening directly in front of them. You know, kids, if they're told a story, they immediately will think that that story is what's happening. They don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you tell a kid about Santa Claus, then, like, the next day, they're gonna be like, I think I saw him. So I don't know if it's really realistic to have this guy, this little, like, 6-year-old kid, not immediately think that this story that someone told him when he was, like, 5, when he's only, like, I don't know, 8 or something like that. isn't immediately relevant to him. I don't know if I like how this is turning, but because I don't know what the conflict is now of their dialogue, but hopefully it works. We'll see. So she's gonna, let's see. All right, I'm just gonna retread. Okay, so he's like, She's like, oh man, you didn't answer my question. He's like, come on, answer the question. Do it. He's like, Oh yeah, he's looking around. She's like, come on, you just don't know the answer. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, I definitely know the answer to this question. Okay, that works. I think this works. That maybe he's only heard rumors of this thing, of this location, and he's still trying to answer her first question from last session. And so that explains why he isn't just like straight up connecting the dots, because he's thinking about two things at the same time. That works. Just like, well, it really doesn't sound like you do. So let's see. How can this go? Ah, man, sorry, I wrote myself into a corner here in terms of how the scene's gonna go. Because normally the problem is I don't think I've really fully done either of these things yet. I've kind of done reverse body with her, because she is always facing the opposite direction of the way he's facing. Okay, I know what I can do. To get her to really drive home this concept that they're on two different wavelengths. She's going here, and then she kind of floats by. So she's kind of investigating his expressions like a bird. You know what I mean? Like a hummingbird. Where she's, eagerly waiting for his response. And he's still deep in thought. And so she's like floating by. Man, this reminds me of the Blue Beetle scenes. I miss the Blue Beetle scenes. And sorry, there was this little mobile game / show thing that I worked on, and I did a whole bunch of scenes with. It was called DC Heroes United, and there was this character called Blue Beetle from DC Universe that he was very fun to storyboard because he could do stuff like this, where he would just float around as conveniently needed. She's like, I knew it. She's like, you don't know. She's like, you don't know what you're talking about. So she's gonna like do a lean back motion. Or maybe she's gonna like cross her arms or something like that. as she floats by. She's like, you're a phony. And then maybe she looks back to like give some sort of stern, mean comment about his inability to answer her impossible existential question. I really need to figure out what her impossible existential question is. But she has one. So, let's see. Where can this go? Where can this go? Let's see. Okay, good. My mic's not muted. I thought it might have been. I get worried about that sometimes. So let's see. That'd be funny if she's still floating by just a little bit. Then when she makes her last comment, she kind of has to crane her neck out from behind him to get this last insult in. She moves a little bit, and then he turns. And he's like, so she's on screen left, he's on screen right. And he's like, I think we should go. Like, now. And she's still mad at him. And she's like, no. She's like, you still haven't answered my question. And you're a phony. This is her pointing her finger derisively at Adam. You're a phony. And then he should probably be a little bit more dramatic in his posing here. So she should seem maybe a little bit big in this. And then have him look off to the side. And then, yeah, the scene's flowing a little bit awkward because I'm having to figure out their character motivations and stuff. But he's going to use his, like, thrusters. To, warp past the camera. which makes her turn. So the camera actually pulls back a little bit. Then he's now behind her in space. He's like, yeah, we need to get out of here, like now. Oh, there should have been some sort of audio cue. Maybe like right around here. Like, maybe just like a sound. Like something. So here. We'll have like an audio cue where like some sort of loud noise. It comes from like off screen. And then that motivates him to turn towards her. Okay, that's better. So they hear some sort of sound. He's like, I think we should go. Like, you're just a phony. He's like, all right, we gotta go. He's like, see ya. Here's his little thruster pack. And he zippity-doos away. He bravely leaves his sister behind. But she doesn't know the story that he knows, which is explaining why he's leaving. So she's not as much in a rush. I should make that there's like, was it they entered through a tunnel? I think, into this area. I should make the tunnel still back there. Just so that it looks like he's going somewhere specific. It's like they entered, and now they're leaving. Oops, wrong layer. That thing's still spinning. I think this works for this sequence. The only thing that I'll need to do is there's the thrusters. Fly off. Okay, I'm making little sound effects to myself. I'm spending way too many frames. See, this is why it was better in last week when I was just drawing in the thumbnail view, because I wouldn't do stuff like this. I wouldn't animate it. Like, this looks really cool to have it animated, but it really isn't relevant to storyboarding. Like I could have done that in just 3 panels, but I did it in like 8 panels instead. Actually, how many panels did I do it in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I could have done it in 2 panels, but whatever. All right, let's go through the scene. So this scene is actually a rough continuation of 2 other scenes I've done. And I'm trying to see if you can string along multiple scenes using this randomly generated prompt. Okay, so let me just cut back to the last time we saw these characters. Last time we saw these characters, you know what? I can actually do the last 2 times we saw these characters. Okay, we're gonna do a callback. Oh yeah, that's what this would look like cleaned up. Okay, so there's this ancient destroyed ship. Maybe it's like thousands of years old, just floating around in space. There's these 2 kids watching it, and it's like a brother and sister or something like that. And they're talking about things. It's like, oh yeah, it's all cool and exciting. She's like, whoa, what's that? He's like, oh, that's that thing. She's like, oh, what's that? He's like, oh, that. Someone explain that to me. He's like, huh. Wait a minute. She's like, are you sure? She's like, these things scare me. I stay up all at night, think about this stuff. I don't think your answer makes sense. He's like, well, you see, someone told me that blah, 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 and this is how this mechanism works or something like that, and, we'll just all be fine. She's like, well, wait a minute. I guess it's alright. He's like, hold on. That explanation makes no sense. She's like, are you lying? He's like, no. He's like, it's true. XYZ told me. He's like, oh, what's that? She's like, hey, that's not a satisfying answer. You need to answer my existential question. And so, then the continuing scene is, okay, so they're floating through space, and she's catching up. And they go through this tunnel, and they're talking to each other. She clambers up here and sees that he has found something. She's like, she's like, your answer was vague. She's like, I need specifics. I need to be able to sleep at night. He's like, do you know what this is? She's like, huh? That? Oh, no. Can I touch it? And he's like, no. Can't. He's like, I think this is something really important. Or, actually, no. He's like, hey. He's like, do you know what it is? No idea. He's like, And then this goes into today, where he continues. It's like, I think it's a thingamabobber. And she's like, still don't know what that is. It's like, well, someone told me about it a little bit ago. She's like, hey, I get it. This is all cool and stuff, but I need answers now. She's like, so what is it? What's the answer to her existential crisis at the age of 5? He's looking around, and so he looks up. And she's still trying to get an answer out of him. And he's looking around. He's starting to realize that some sort of story might have been true. She's still prodding at him. And then he says something, and she spins around, and she's like, I thought so. You're just a liar and a phony. And they hear a sound off screen. Some sort of like weird alien or space piratey sound. And he's like, I think we should go. She's like, no, you're a phony. You can't get out of this. See ya. Wait, what? So we gotta go. She should be yelling at him. As they leave. There needs to be a camera move there. There needs to be a, for this to work, there needs to be something. So like the camera moves from behind her. And then when she goes, there needs to be a second camera move. Because right now it just feels a little too static. There also should probably be something. I don't know what. By the way, that's all three of those scenes strung together. And what's interesting is I didn't think that this would work. I didn't really think it would work. Because this is essentially 6 different prompts that are all strung together. And a little bit of a narrative is coming out of them. A story of these brother and sister discovering some sort of ancient space wreckage. But it's all through randomly generated prompts. You know, or not like AI prompts, but, you know, dice rolls on what the camera shots or acting should be. And so there's actually a narrative that's forming, which is interesting because I wonder how long I could run along with this in terms of making a story that makes sense. Because right now, all their acting is basically being dictated by the requirements of, you know, my morning prompt, not necessarily by me having a pre-written narrative. So maybe this could go somewhere in the future. Or maybe I'll get burnt out. But we'll see. Yeah, actually, now I'm kind of curious if I can continue it again with another scene. But, yeah. Either way, thank you very much for watching and putting up with some of my coughing and lung issues that I'm going through. But, yeah, have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.